Today's presentation is about audio-lingual method. So, as you can see from the first photo in my presentation, there are two parrots, and repeat after me. So, the first thing that we can understand it's about repetition. So, let's discover together what is audio-lingual method. Well, let me first tell you what I'll talk about exactly in this presentation. So, of course, I have to start with a very short definition about audiolingual method. Then the factors that contributed to the emergence of this method, as well as the approach of the method and the foundation or the basement of the method, because this method has a deep root in psychology and in linguistics. And after that, the application and the description of the method, and how does the teacher function and react in the class, and the learner too. And of course, we will talk about some kind of activities and what the syllabus of the method, and some limitations and contributions of the method. At the end, a very short conclusion and some questions. So let's start with the definition here. My definition of the audiolingual method is that it's based on dialogues and drills and the target language use in the class, as well as it's based on imitation and memorization. Very simply, it's a method that made students learn the language without thinking about the language. There are three main factors that contributed to the emergence of the method. The first one is the Army Specialized Training Program, and because of the Second World War, U.S. was really pushed at the time to make learners speak the language as fast as possible. So that's why they promoted the teaching and the learning of languages at the time. It's in between 1940 till 1950s. So yeah, in the period of the Second World War. And because of this, Leonard Blomfield has prepared and has launched a what is called audiolingualism approach, because he's one of the proponents and of the founders of this approach. And the method that he proposed at that time, it was called the informant method, and it means that the teaching of the language is based on the native speaker. So informant method, it means that informant, it means native speaker. So it was based his technique, it was based on observing the basic structure from the native speaker in the classroom, so that they can copy exactly what does the native speaker say, and how native speaker use the language. The second factor is the oral approach presented by Charles Rice, which is also based on intensive oral drillings, so just pronunciation and proper intonation. And the third one, it was by the same person. It was the what is called the systematic comparison between the structure of two languages. So this is what's called constructive study of the languages, because the author here taught that one of the problems of teaching languages is that there are two different structure of the language. So we learner should understand and know those different structures so that he or she can use the language. As you can see here, principles in teaching and learning English as a foreign language, in which the problems of learning a foreign language were attributed to the conflict of different structural systems. So the focus of the audiolingual approach is on structure. And now the approach. What is the approach of audiolingual method? As you can see here, it's based on theory of language, which means that language, as I have just mentioned, is structural linguistics, and language for according to this method, it's just speech, and writing it comes later, and it's based on habits, and the native speaker is the source of the language. And of course, languages are different. That's why we've got systematic comparison between two different languages. And the theory of learning, which the audiolingual approach is based on, is behaviorism. And at the time, it was promoted by many psychologists like Skinner, Pavlov. So, and the linguists they relied on this theory of learning, so that the consider the learner as a someone who should listen and repeat, and the teacher should reinforce that repetition, what is called positive reinforcement. So as you can see here, stimulus is what is taught or presented in the foreign language. The response is the learner's reaction to the stimulus, and the reinforcement is the approval and praise of the teacher or a friend for self-satisfaction, so that he can produce the language. And here, the principles of the method is it has to do with the theory of learning. It's the same, okay? It's based on habit formation, mechanical habit formation. Spoken language has the priority. The analogy, as mentioned at first, systematic comparison, the analogy between two different structures, and which means here inductive grammar teaching, and teaching in linguistic and cultural contexts. Of course, what's good in this method, it pays a lot of attention to everything which is cultural, and these principles we can find in front of it with the applications. So we translate this kind of principles into applications, and there are repetition, drill, substitution, and dialogues. So when we say mechanical habit formation, it's kind of drills and repetition. And here the teacher in the audiolingual method, the teacher is the dominant. He is everything in the class. He is the leader of the class. So he is the one who plays on all the other players' instruments. He does everything. As you can see here, according to Richards and Rogers, the, the teacher in audiolingual method class must provide varieties of drills and tasks. You see, drills and tasks to keep learners' motivation. So the teacher is, in other words, is the boss. Here, the learner he has no role, just receive it. No creativity, no autonomy. So just should receive and react in the same way. Types of activities. So there are some of the main activities we use in our language method class. Repetition, transposition, substitution. For example, substitution, it's kind of example just when we substitute a word with another word, but in the same structure. Uh, for example, drills when we use the same terms, but with different verbs, the same form, language form, or different words. So, just another example of transformation drill. It's, for example, when you say they are going to the bank. Are they going to the bank? So it's kind of transformation from positive to negative. So these are just examples of the main activities that we use in other language method, and the syllabus it's based on phonological, morphological, and syntactic key items. And of course, the usage of the main skills it's really essential in the language method, and this is what I like personally. We start with listening, then speaking, and then writing, but writing it comes really later. It doesn't have the priority. And instruction materials, it's one of the methods that's based on a lot of materials, and this is very important during that time, because at that time there are language labs, tape recorders, audiovisual equipment, and all these materials they are under the control of the teacher, so which means that the teacher is everything in the class. And of course, the usage of the native language, I'm sorry, the target language. Here, a typical activity in the lingual class, it starts all the time with dialogues, listening, then changing the keywords. It's like of drills, repeating those keywords, and the selection of certain key structure from the dialogue, and practice in course or individually. So it's again here repetition and imitative writing. So again, there's no creativity from the students. So you just repeat here what has been mentioned before, and you have to respect to the point everything that has been mentioned by the teacher. And of course, at the end of the act of the lesson plan, if you want to say more dialogues and drill works, so in grammar, uh, uh, in conversations, everything drills, it's kind of repetition, even it is a different sentence structure, different verb structure, different tenses, but it says in the same order. Contributions, yeah, there are some kind of contributions, like for example the spoken form of the language, which has been really very important in this method. Uh, it's based on theory of learning and theory of language, and the usage of skills and the usage of language labs, and of course the focus on grammatical structure and development of oral activities and abilities. This is the main contributions. Regarding the limitation, the main one is that there is no communication outside the classroom, just in the classroom, no creativity. This method has been attacked as invalid, and as you know now, Chomsky cognitive code of learning, which is language is not habit structure, it's based on rules. In conclusion, it contributed to the development of teaching languages. It was the first theory just based on theory of language, and the main reason of the decline is based on habit formation. My questions for my colleagues, I would like to share this with you and to take them into consideration. I'd like to hear from you. Thank you so much for uh, listening to my presentation, and I, I, I appreciate your